Welcome everyone to this week's Real Talk. It is Thursday, June 25th, 4 o'clock. I'm Jordan Rosenstein from the Mulholland Ross Group. I'm the Director of Operations and Sales Representative with the team. Aura and Lauren are here with us today. If you guys want to just say hi and introduce yourselves, that'd be great.
Hi, I'm Lauren Rhodes.
And I'm Aura Ross, and I'm going to jump right into our Real Talk Live because we've got some great stats to go over. And so we're going to jump right in. And the first one is we're going to take a look. We've got our brokerage, Keller Williams Referred Realty, along with, I guess Jordan, it's about 55% of the brokerages across Toronto,
Right.
use a platform called Broker Bay, and we use it to share our exclusive listings with other realtors and to do a lot of things within our office's listings and communicate within our office. And it's also a program that books the showings. So when an agent is making an appointment on our listings, this is the platform that about 55 to 60% of the brokerages across the city are using. And so we're using their data. And so I want to make sure everyone understands this isn't for right across the GTA, but it does give us a very strong pattern, right, of what we're seeing. So I'm going to share that screen. Oops, sorry. Okay. Can everyone see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this is a one, so let me backtrack actually. Broker Bay through the COVID pandemic here in Toronto has been keeping us agents abreast of these things on a weekly basis. And what they did for us this week is they kind of broadened that lookout to give us a bigger perspective. And that's what we wanted to share with you guys. So this gives us this 180-day view. What's that? 5 months? 6 months. 6 months. Yeah, half a year. Yeah, since the beginning of the year. Okay. And why they wanted to show us this is because we're now looking at our what we call pre-COVID numbers, a new word. And so these are the showings and offers for the last 190 days. So these are appointments being booked. So every time an agent books an appointment on a listing, they're tracking this. So we're seeing that go up. Look at how January started. We were going into that amazing spring market, right? And you can see it was right around March 20th, March 19th or something like that, that the city shut down. And there you see the appointments drop, right? However, can you see the whole end of it?
Yes.
Okay, good. You can see that we're pretty much back to where we were, right? And when we look at these drops and we reflect to the calendars, what you're seeing is your weekend during the week, build up weekend showing, drop Monday. There's your week's cycle. Everything about real estate is a cycle, a weekly, a monthly, seasonally, economically, everything. So there you see it. So for people saying, oh, it's not a good time to sell my home, you know, people aren't out looking at homes, no one wants to do anything. These statistics tell another story. And I mean, I know Lauren can, and the rest of the team who can't even be on this call because we're busy showing houses, can attest to the fact that we have gotten much busier just in the last couple of weeks, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Lots of showings. Oh, and just coming back to this offer, same thing. These are offers registered, right? There they peak up. It went really flat for a while, but look at, we're almost back to where we were. Here we've got our appointments, offers, new listings on MLS, exclusive listings, and solds all in one. I'm going to actually come back to that. That's just too much to look at. This is this week's showings. And now we're actually comparing it over to last month.
Yeah, it's really up.
Yeah. I mean,
Double, more than double.
More than double, and back to where we were pre the COVID fear. So we're definitely feeling a lot of demand in the market. The sales numbers aren't as high as they were before, but that's probably because there just aren't as many listings to choose from, right? Showings are up 84% month over month. So now that's April, May compared to April. Offer registered. Or sorry, that's June to May. Sorry, offer registered up 117%. New listings are up 54%, so that's great. New exclusive listings are up 58%, and that is likely because we are walking into Canada Day next week. And quite often when people are gearing up to go to market in the summer, we hold back a little bit to get past a holiday weekend or a holiday week where a lot of people tend to go away or at least shut down. So what happens a lot of times is they go in exclusively because they're getting ready for MLS. I have a feeling that's what we're seeing here. And I think it's going to show up in more listings next week, at the end of next week or the following week. And then we've got our solds are up 100% over last month. So really no change there, following the same pattern. These are showings booked, right? So you see the big build up through the week of the booked showings. We don't see as many bookings on Saturday and Sunday, but those showings are probably happening there. Showings remain the same. Offer registered up. New listings on MLS up. New exclusive up. Solds up 9%. And this is this week over last week. So in some cases, we're looking over last month. In some cases, we're looking at this weekly. I really, this is the one though that I find most interesting, because when we see these numbers, I'm pointing to my screen, when we see these numbers hit where we were before, we are reminded just how busy we are. Do we have any questions from anyone?
Let's take a look through the list here. I don't see anything yet. If you do have questions, feel free to put it in the chat box or the Q&A box, raise your hand, any of that. Just what's interesting off those stats as well, are like, you know, we're definitely noticing from the buyer side as well. You know, as soon as the pandemic hit and everything shut down, we were definitely doing a lot more virtual, you know, viewings, and we still are, but we're starting to see people, you know, as the city opens up and we move into phase 2, people become a little bit more accustomed to the new normal, if you want to call it that. And we are still doing showings, you know, safely, of course, and masks and gloves and sanitizer and wipe downs and all of that. But, you know, there it is right there in black and white, or blue and orange, I guess. You know, the fact that we're at the same number of showings we were at before the city shut down, that's a pretty big deal, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And if I think, Lauren, I know you're working with a few people, and Jack and Davis are as well, where the motivation to move might be up a wee bit. Now, we're not talking about crazy, desperate buyers or anything, but a little bit of motivation to know that we've now experienced quarantine in our home.
Mm-hmm.
And if we have to do that again, we would like to do it differently. And we maybe had a plan to do it and we didn't feel there was any urgency, but now let's get on with things. And I think a lot of people feel that they've got a couple of months right now to get those changes underway, because we don't know what is coming in the fall. We just cannot say yet what to expect in the fall. So do it now, get it done. And we're seeing a lot of that.
Definitely. Also, I think that because so many sellers might have held off putting their homes on the market, even buyers that were willing to go out before, they just didn't have any options. Yeah. And if they weren't desperate, I mean, nobody wants to be forced to buy something they don't really love, just, you know, for the sake of it. So as I'm seeing more listings come to the market that are picking up, there's more buyers coming out because they're starting to see options that they'd like to go and see.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I also noticed that a lot of the stuff that was sitting a while, I mean, we always used to have what we'd call the summer sell-off or the winter sell-off.
Yeah.
I've really noticed in the last 2 weeks stuff that's been sitting on the market. I had clients wanting to book a bunch of stuff that had been sitting, and then all of a sudden, I think 7 properties that they wanted to see all went in, like, under contract, sold or sold conditionally within a matter of a few days. So yeah, definitely, yeah, things are moving.
Yeah. And the reality is, a well-priced home in any market, and this is a good one, but a well-priced home in any market does get a lot of attention, and we'll see that shortly when we look at a couple of other things. So let's just look at the quick market watch report that the Toronto Real Estate Board does put out every month. This is public information. You can actually access it at the torontorealestateboard.com or give us a call. We're happy to send it over to you. It's quite in depth. I'm not going to go through it page by page with you guys here, but a couple of interesting things. There's your sales. So you can see the sales are down from a year ago, but look at that price. Excuse me for 1 second. Isn't that wild?
Mm-hmm.
It looks like sales for the month of May 2020 to May 2019 are down 50%, but the actual price is only like,
It's up.
yeah, it's up 3%.
That's right.
Go
So, you know, a lot of that might have to do with supply and demand in certain areas, because we are seeing some areas where we're not seeing a lot of listings, and they are, anything that gets listed is sold. And then we're seeing some areas where that ratio is much different, right? Where, you know, only half the homes that actually get listed are selling, or less than half are selling. It's very interesting. But there's here in the bottom corner right are your quick year-over-year stats. So you can see that our actual sales are down 53%. Our new listings are down an equal amount. So if that stays on course, then our supply and demand will remain tight, which may hold our prices, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's when we see those new listings and active listings start to climb, if we don't see the sales climb with it, that's where we might see a slightly changing market, but we're not seeing it yet. Average price, look at that, up 3%.
So we have a question here based on what you just said there is,
Yeah.
As a buyer looking to get a deal, because, you know, and we've heard it from a lot of our buyers too, you know, oh, the pandemic, you know, people are going to be giving their houses away and waiting for the market to crash and all that. You know, do you wait to buy something? Is the market going to go down, or do you buy something now because rates are low? What would you say?
Okay, well, great question. So first, let's just jump on that rate thing. Because what we know is if prices go down, let's say even 10 or 15% and rates go up 2%, which is not unlikely because we're so low right now, you're actually paying more for a house. So if you are borrowing money, you need to know the cost of that home is not the purchase price, it is the cost. What does it cost you every month to buy that home? That's your actual cost of house. Right? So those rates are huge. And for the person asking that question, I'd love to, if you give us a call or send us your info, we'll show you what that looks like. Look, we have a few buyers, right, that we're expecting things to be much easier for them right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we are telling you the prices are not dropping. We're looking at these numbers. There are some areas where maybe you can negotiate a little more than others, but in the city, no, not seeing it. Let's just take a look at something. I just found this to be quite interesting. So this is all home types. And if you see here, our Toronto Real Estate Board breaks down our central part of the city by C districts. So that's basically the waterfront to Steeles and from the Don Valley Parkway to the Allen. So it's that central strip right up Yonge Avenue, Bathurst, Bayview, right up there, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what we're looking at here. And when we look at a few things here, list to sell ratio, for example, you know, downtown in the annex, they're at 101%. Here in the Young Shepherd area, we're at 95%. You know, please note, it doesn't mean that everything on the market is going to drop 5% in order to sell. It means that of the homes that have sold, the average adjustment has been 5%. So if you go into this area, C1 and C08 are considered our waterfronts, right? And we're in all home types here. You can see you've got 99% of the asking price there and 98. Well, that's actually quite different. I think last year they were well over 100. I don't know.
Yeah, that's driven down by your condos, your 1, 2, 3 bedroom condos in that kind of 600 to $1 million price range.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Look what happens when we look at the East districts, the beaches, anywhere down south, even in the north end, the area we were looking at, Jordan, at Nielsen and the 401, all of them, look at how high they are.
Mm-hmm.
Now, take a look at their average prices. Or sorry, I think here's your average prices. You've got areas where they're a bit lower. So we're seeing a larger group of people able to get into those under millions. We just listed a house, I'm so excited about it, in the Guildwood, which is, the East Waterfront. You're in the Bluffs. And for under $900,000, you can buy a beautifully renovated home on a 43 by 150 foot lot. It's walking distance to transit to go to the lake. And it takes the same amount of time to get into Union Station as from Yonge and Steeles or even Yonge and Lawrence. So you start going, okay, there's a great option for a young family trying to get into the real estate market in a nice neighborhood. I mean, it's very exciting. So we're obviously getting a lot of activity on this because, that's a popular price point, stay under $1 million. Love it. Okay, so just wanted to show you guys that. Any other questions? Let's take a look just for fun for any of you watching. There's your areas when you get out of the city. So there's Aurora, 313 sales. There's your average price, 99% list to sell, 23 days on the market. Guys, this is not a bad market. So your question about the buyers looking for the deal, I don't know. I guess it's going to come to, maybe buying in an area where other people aren't, and finding the motivated seller. And the one thing I know about buyers who, the last time we saw the dip in 08, I guess it was, no, 18, first of all, sorry. Everyone just kept thinking it was going to go down, 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 and it went down, and the buyers stayed on the sideline, and they said, well, it's going to go down further. And then they woke up one day and it was bouncing back up. So you never know when you've hit bottom until you're on your way up, because hindsight's 20/20. And all I know is I'd rather buy coming into the bottom. Maybe you haven't hit bottom, but you're coming into the bottom, than buying on the way up, because on the way up is where we see the bidding wars and the purchases without home inspections and all of that stuff, because you're now in panic mode. When things are going this way, the buyer has a little more control over timing and home inspections and all of that stuff. So I don't know if I answered that way too long. Any other questions before we just sort of jump into one more thing I thought was kind of fun to share?
No, I'm not seeing any in the chat right now.
Okay. Just for everyone looking again, and again, this is on the TorontoRealEstateBoard.com. There's your sales, and they break it down by 416, 905, and your total. And there you've got your sort of change in sales. So you can see in the 416 area code, the detached home went up 2.7. In the 905, it went up 1.8.
I think what's important to remember with these numbers is that's the whole 416, all housing types, or sorry, like all detached homes, right? That's comparing a detached 50-year-old bungalow to a brand new 3-story detached home, right? So, averages are averages for a reason. And that's why we always recommend for anyone thinking of buying, selling, investing to reach out to us and have that initial conversation, right? Because everyone's situation is different, and everyone's area is different, and everyone's home is different, and their goals, right?
Yeah, and we're actually surprised to learn that some sellers don't have underestimated their value of their home recently, thinking that things had gotten much worse than they actually had. And that's one thing we want to protect people of, obviously that the person that doesn't think their home has held value, we don't want you to undersell. So what I'm showing you here is I just did a quick search in our Toronto, in our Realtors MLS for all the solds in those central districts again. So we're back to the Waterfront, Steeles, Don Valley, to the Allen. And what is sold since last Thursday, since the last time we were on this call? And my list shows up 44 sales. And look at this, $18 million home sold on Roxborough. They did have to negotiate down 3.5 million, but no joking, joking aside, sorry, that's good money being spent in our city. So again, going back to, I'm looking for the deal. Sure, there's going to be some deals out there. I'm sure. I think there's some great ones out there now, but there is still money being spent in the city. So if you're looking for someone who's desperate, be careful. Someone else with more money is just going to outbid you. 5 million, 4 million. So we've got quite a few over 3 million. We're talking 1 week, guys. Here's what's wild. Other than the $3.5 million adjustment here, look at the list to sell. This is our listing price column. Here's our sold column. If you look, you are not seeing a huge discount in these prices because the homes that are priced well are actually selling fairly close to their asking, and they're selling in a reasonable amount of time. And that's, I think, another important lesson. The ones that are priced well are selling, and they're not negotiating far off. And a couple of them are even going over. There's a 2,650 to 2,830. I mean, we've got a couple. As we go up this list and that list price drops, look what happens to the sold price. What do you think's going on?
They're underpricing and trying to get multiple offers.
Now, what I've noticed too is on some of these, we're not seeing a huge upswing, right? 1,599 to 1,600. A couple of them are just right in the ballpark, right? It might be that they're just nailing that price right on, finding 2 or more people that say that is fair, that they priced it well. And bang, you've got your multiple offers. Even though you didn't hugely underprice it, you just hit it on the nail, right? So I thought that was wild. And then one more thing I wanted to just share here was that the lowest sale price we could see in the last week in that central district is sitting at 1,172. So this market seems to be doing its thing. And with that lack of inventory and still a demand of people who want to buy a nice home, we're seeing those prices hold. I think, Lauren, I would ask you, do you think you've seen a shift in the buyers that we're seeing in the market from, say, a year ago?
I don't know if it's necessarily different buyers. I just think that maybe because of COVID, some of the people that didn't think they needed to move are a little bit more motivated today, just right, because they've been in a space that they weren't. But really, I mean, it's the same people. It's like the market is changing. Buyers knew a few years ago that they had to act really quickly, that they needed to get all of their financing in order, that they had no chance to put a home inspection, and that things went really fast. So my interaction with them was sometimes a lot shorter than it is today, where we get, which is nice because it felt weird sometimes, not fully getting to know somebody before they had to jump in.
Yeah.
But now things are a little bit slower, but to be honest, when somebody's ready to act, they still need to move pretty quickly because definitely there's more activity going on right now.
Are you finding, because I'm not seeing as many builder speculators in the market, they're still there. Mm-hmm. And there's still a few of them trying to make some wise purchases, but not quite like it was even a year ago, where they were starting to come back.
Yeah, and we are hearing more from people that are thinking of taking on the build process themselves even. Yeah. And I think that people were so go that maybe the last few months has given them time to stop, think, and maybe even potentially think they have, the time to go through that build process themselves.
That's right.
Yeah, that maybe felt like they didn't have the time before.
And just for anyone out there who's thinking of this, Lauren comes with a little bit of personal experience on this one. So, but seriously, it's a big decision. If you have questions, do reach out. We're happy to share anything we've learned in our experiences. So today we'll wrap this up. I think we gave you a good idea of what we're seeing in the last week. If we look tired, it's because we're working really hard, and we're out showing and helping sellers understand what the value of their home is in today's market. So again, if you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to reach out, ask us a question. You can call us at our office at 416-230-8500. You can visit us on our website at realestatetoronto.com. Hopefully one day soon you can drop in at 246 Shepherd West. But we do look forward to helping you with your real estate. You know, we have been helping buyers and sellers buy and sell and invest in real estate for well over 30 years, and we've done it through a lot of different types of markets. There's very little we haven't seen. A lot of different family dynamics, special needs, whatever it is, please give us a ring. We're pretty good at finding solutions. Okay. So have a great night. And again, reach out with any questions, and thank you for stopping into Real Talk Live.